In the Mataji, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes.
Sure, Mataji.
In the Mataji, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes.
Sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, and thank you all so much for joining us consistently in our Nectar of Instruction Upadeshamrita series, 11 verses in 11 weeks. So today we are very, very happy to have Her Grace Indulekha Karuna Mataji, who will be speaking on verse number 7. So many of you know her, you must be familiar with her from our previous classes. So we are very happy to have her on the call. Mataji, you can now take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for joining. And we are going to look at another nectarian verse from Upadeshamrita today. So we'll get started. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So before we start, as usual, we will start with a revision of our previous verses. Okay, so I see that there are a few of you here. So I would like your active participation. Please go in and there are some hints in the bottom. So it will help you determine what fits in each one of these verses. So for verse 1 talked about 6 what? Urges. Thank you so much, Mukta Mataji. How about verse 2? So verse 1 talked about the 6 urges. Verse 2 talked about the 6, something not so good. Enemies. How about the 6 kind of, okay, vices? Yes, I see that I have not added vices, but that is right. Vices is correct. Whatever is unfavorable. Yes, very good. How about verse 3? Okay, I have the hint for verse 3 mentioned here. So let us see. It is something positive. So there are 6 kind of, yes, something that's favorable. What can it be? It is the 6 kind of virtues. Yes, thank you so much, Kirtida Mataji. Okay, so the 6 kind of virtues are mentioned in verse 3. And in verse 4, we talk about 6 kinds of something that you have to do when you meet another person. So what is it? The 6 kinds of another devotee. Between devotees, what is this? This are the 6 types of exchanges. Thank you so much again, Mukta Mataji. Yes, it is the 6 kinds of exchanges. And verse 5 talks about the 3. It talks about 3 different types of blank. 3 kinds of devotees. Yes, once again, thank you so much. And the last week, we covered verse 6. Lalitangi Mataji, Her Grace Lalitangi Mataji covered verse 6. And it talked about something very important for us as sadhakas. So, and she had called it something, but it included the 6 kinds of criticism. So how we see a devotee. So last week, what Mataji covered was called the vision of a devotee. Okay, so those are the 6, very, very important for us to know this. That's why we are trying to revise these, because this is these are instructions, right? Nectar of Instruction is our practical handbook for every neophyte who's coming into Krishna consciousness. And we need to know what each one of these are, because throughout our devotional life, throughout our spiritual life, we need to make sure that we are following these. Okay, yes, I am trying to control the 6 urges. I am not trying to do any of the 6 bad practices, the vices. I am trying to follow and trying to get into the 6 kinds of virtues. I am trying to do proper exchanges with other devotees, loving exchanges with other devotees. And then after all this, then, of course, the verse 5 teaches about the 3 different kinds of devotees, like the Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttamadhikaris. And verse 6, how to make sure that we don't find any faults with people, and what are the different kinds of faults. So first, we can thank you all for participating. Thank you so much for your very enthusiastic listening too, because otherwise it would be very hard to answer. So let's just go through the 6th verse, which was taught by Lalitangi Mataji. So this is the vision of a devotee. Okay, it talks about the 6 different kinds of criticisms. The first being criticism based on bodily defects. So we should make sure that by no means are we criticizing, a Vaishnava based on their bodily inabilities. Okay, so the example for this was Vasudev leper. That was from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Lalitangi Mataji had explained that. Now, this is known also as the mad elephant offense, where we differentiate between based on the material body, based on their bodily conditions. The second was criticism due to birth. So if they are born in a Goswami family, there we see them in one way. If they are born in an American family, we see them in another way. No, all Vaishnavas should be treated properly. And how she was explaining about how the Ganges is never impure. In the same way, we should not just look at a person's birth and determine what they are. And the example that was given was that of Swapacha Valmiki. So from the Mahabharata, Mataji was explaining that pastime. And the third type of criticism is criticism due to misbehavior. And she was talking about the sons of sage Marichi, and how they had laughed, they mocked at Lord Brahma for his apparent downfall, for his apparent mistake. Okay, and so even if a Vaishnava commits abominable activities, we should not be criticizing them. And because of that mistake, they had to take another couple births. First, they had to be again born as the sons of Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj's brothers. And after that, they had again to take birth as the 6 sons of Devaki, who were immediately killed by Kamsa at birth. And finally, they were able to go back to their heavenly bodies only by the mercy of Lord Krishna and Devaki Mata's the milk prasad that she gave. So the next is viewing a person with a materialistic vision. So this particular offense, and we saw the example of Ramachandra Puri, that leads to many, many more offenses. It is a very huge effect, like one leads to the other. So the next kind of offense is where we are mistreating a devotee. So we talked about how in Sri Rangam there was a Brahmana, and because the others were treating him, because he was not very well educated, right? So the other Brahmanas in the community were offending him. They were treating him disrespectfully. So that is also not appropriate. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he goes there, he sees that this is the pure devotee, and he saw that he is the real devotee of the Lord. He knows he knows who Lord Krishna really is. And the next is offenses. And the next kind of offense is to attempt to discipline a person, to attempt to discipline or correct a Vaishnava. Now, the example for this was Srila Prabhupada himself, and how, because of so many revolutionary ways of Srila Prabhupada, his god brothers, they questioned his actions, they tried to discipline, but that is not appropriate. It is a very great offense to try to correct a great Vaishnava. So these were the 6 kinds of criticisms that a person can ends up doing, and how that can be very offensive, and how we need to try to overcome these offenses. So once we overcome these offenses, then we learn how to see only the good in others. And when we start seeing good in others, then we slowly start receiving taste in chanting the holy names of the Lord. So that is where today's verse comes in. Now the phrase for today is Namaruchi. So the holy names of the Lord, that is what we are going to talk about. A very, very important, very pertinent instruction for our day-to-day life, right? So as we see this nectar of instruction, it is our success formula. It is the formula for being transformed from a neophyte to a pure Vaishnava. And what is the one thing that from the very first day of our devotional practice that we have to do? We have to chant. We have to do japa. So chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now, how do we do this? And what are the different stages to chanting? All of that will be looked at in this. So, actually, our very, very first service to the Lord, it is not seeing the Lord, doesn't start with anything else. It starts with the tongue, right? We have two services. That is, one is to chant the holy names of the Lord, and the second is to accept holy Krishna Prasadam. So our chanting is the medicine, and Krishna Prasadam is our diet. Everything starts with the tongue. So it's got such a very important role. So let us see what this verse is, what it is talking about. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitopataptarasanasya Narochikano Kintvadaradhanudinam Khalu Saiva Jushta Swadvikramad Bhavati Tadgata Mula Hantri. So let us look at this word for word, not exactly every word, but we will look at what it is saying. Okay, it is talking about Krishna Nama Charitadi. So we know Krishna's name, Lord Krishna's name, and his character, pastimes, everything, right? It is like Sita, it is like the sugar candy. But what happens? Because of avidya, which is ignorance. Because of ignorance. Why is this ignorance coming? Yeah, pitopatapta. Okay, this ignorance which has affected, pitopatapta is by bile, that is afflicted by bile. What is afflicted by bile? Our tongue, rasanasya. The tongue is affected by this bile because it is afflicted by this bile of ignorance. We are not able to find the holy names of the Lord palatable. Narochikanu, not palatable. Okay, and so then let us see. Kintvadarat anudinam. So he's saying, but adarat, very carefully, anudinam, every day or 24 hours daily. If we khalu saiva jushta. So if we take that medicine, that is, if we are taking to this chanting process every day, 24 hours a day, very carefully, then swadvikramad bhavati, then gradually it becomes swadvi, it becomes relishable. And what happens? Tad gata mula hantri, the root itself is destroyed. The disease is destroyed from the root. Tad gata mula hantri. So that is this particular verse, and what it means is that once again we will go into the translation. And over here, if anyone would like to read, please go ahead and you can read. Otherwise I will. Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within the tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for saying the translation. Okay, so what is this? This has a few parts to it. Okay, the first thing is that we have a disease. Okay, so here that disease is talked about. Okay, and then it talks about what causes that disease. Then it is talking about what is the cure to that disease, right? So there are a few things that are covered in this, and we will look at it systematically, right? Starting from what is our healthy condition? Why do we have this disease, right? So let us look at what our healthy state is. So, of course, you all are very well aware. What is our healthy state? Our healthy state is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupe Hai Krishnera Nitya Das. The Jiva's constitutional position is to be an eternal servant of the Lord. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter, he says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, right? He says that these living entities in this conditioned world, they are my eternal fragmental parts. We are part and parcel of the Lord. So, just like Krishna is the fully conscious sun, right? We are all minute particles of conscious particles in that sun's rays. Oh, we are all part and parcel, just like how in a body, the hands, the legs, they are all different limbs, but they cannot work independently. They are of some use only when they are involved in the service of the whole body. So Krishna is the supreme whole and we are his part and parcel. So what is our duty? Just as the hands and legs have to serve the body, in the same way, our duty is also to serve the Lord. And this is the healthy state. This is our constitutional position. Now, in our constitutional position, we know we are pure, we are free from all contaminations. Okay, we are free from birth, we are free from death, we are free from any kind of diseases and old age, right? And we have so much of freedom to act. We have the freedom to love God, and this is we have the freedom to also be enjoyed by the Lord. Over there in our constitutional position, we are not the enjoyer. The Lord is the enjoyer, but we are there to serve him. We are there to be enjoyed by him. But is this condition that we are in? No, obviously not, right? If that was our state, then we would not be here. So we are all in this diseased condition. We all have this jaundice. So why do we have this jaundice? Obviously, we have this jaundice because we have turned our face away from Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Leela, in the 20th chapter, this verse is a very, very relevant verse. Krishna bhuli se jiva nadi bahirmukha atha eva maya tare deya samsara dukha. So we have forgotten Krishna. What are we attracted to then? The living entity has been attracted by this external feature, by this external energy of the Lord. From when? From Anadi Bahirmukha, from time immemorial, we have been attracted by this external energy of the Lord. And therefore, this Maya Shakti, this illusory energy, it keeps on making us go through all kinds of material suffering, all kinds of misery in this material world. So when a person has got jaundice, then what happens? When they are attacked by jaundice, their tongue will have this layer of bile. And what happens is then when they are trying to eat something sweet, that sweet substance tastes very bitter. It doesn't taste relishable at all. Okay, so the person would actually dislike taking any sweet. So, but in the same way, okay, even the jiva in this material world, they also have no taste for chanting, no taste for chanting the holy names of the Lord, no taste for listening to Krishna Katha, no taste for hearing the holy names, hearing about Lord Krishna. And everything that's Krishna conscious, it all would taste very bitter. So why does this happen to us? Why is it that we are in this diseased state, right? And that is the cause. What is the cause? The root cause of our diseased condition is ignorance or avidya. And also, so there are two kinds of causes. One is the individual cause, and the other is leadership, or what society tries to show us. So the main cause as an individual is ignorance. So that is the root cause of our suffering in this material world. And all of our material desires are because of ignorance. As we see, it's mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentions that avidya or ignorance, it leads to ahankara. It leads to the false ego within our heart. So why is that? Because we are now not relating with what is actually right. We are not relating with what our eternal position should be. We feel like, oh, okay, these are what we want. And because of that, we have this great entanglement. We have this great attraction for everything material. And all of these material desires, they all crop in because of that false ego, right? Because of I and myself. And that is actually caused by ignorance, because we don't know who we are. We think that, oh, okay, everything I have to do in this world for my own pleasure. And that leads to many, many material desires. And that's why we are trapped in this. So because of that, we forget about Krishna, and we are attracted to this material energy. So this avidya, this causes a great attraction, right, to Maya. And we start taking shelter of this material world. So, and that is durashraya, where what is durashraya? Ashraya means to take shelter, but durashraya is to take false shelter, or to take shelter of something that is not good, bad shelter, right? So we constantly put faith in this material world, in this external energy of the Lord. And because of that, what are we doing? We are hoping, we are thinking that we will get great happiness, we will get great satisfaction. But as we can see all around us, everywhere people are struggling, right? We all want to try to become happy, we try to be happy, but all our attempts are just in vain. So, because of our ignorance, we do not understand what the root cause of our problem is. And so, we try to do this patchwork solution. We try to rectify our mistake by creating another mistake. But what happens? Because we are so forgetful of Krishna, we do not even try to take his shelter. We don't take to Krishna consciousness at all. So, in this regard, on how one can accept a false shelter, there's this story about a man. Okay, he was leading a family life. Okay, he has a wife, he has 3 4 kids, but over time he started getting tired, and he felt like, oh, it is so hard to maintain my family, so let me just go to the forest. Like a lot of people, they have this escapist mentality. So he was trying to go. He said, okay, I'll go to the forest, I'll become a sannyasi, I'll try to get some disciples, and they will take care of me for the rest of my life, right? So like this he goes. And slowly people started coming around, and they saw that, oh, this person has a nice jada and he's got a nice beard, oh, he looks like a sage. So they all thought, okay, yes, please, can you please give us initiation, can you please give us shelter? And they all want to become his disciples, and he's like, yes, definitely, you please come, tomorrow you come. So they were like, okay. So they are like, okay, Maharaj, is everything okay with you? Do you have any troubles? He says, oh, everything is fine, except that there are rats over here, and they keep taking my atta flour, or my mm, wheat flour. So he says, and they keep eating that, and that just troubles me so much. So they are like, oh, okay, there is a solution for that. You just need to get a cat. And when you get a cat, here the cat is going to make sure that all the rats are gone. So they were like, okay, we will bring a cat tomorrow. So then he was like, okay, fine, if that is the solution, well and good. So the next day, those prospective disciples, they come and they bring the cat. And the cat was good. It was taking care of his rat infestation or his rat problem. And after some time, what happened? So he was sitting in his meditation. And what happens after some time? The cat starts meowing. And because obviously she is also hungry. So it was time for him to provide milk to the cat. So now he doesn't have anything. He's in this forest. And so he decides, okay, now let me go to the nearest village and get some milk. And so he goes, begs for some milk and comes back. And the whole, he was like, he lost many hours in that day. And so he finally comes and he feeds the cat some milk. So the next day, after 2 days, actually, the prospective disciples, they come and they ask, oh, okay, is everything good? Are you happy now? Is your flour safe? He said, yeah, the flour is all safe. The rat's problem is reduced. But now I have this cat, and for this cat, I need to go and keep on providing milk. So I have to go to the village and get this milk. So they are like, oh, okay. So if you want to avoid that, let us get you a cow. Now, if you milk the cow, then obviously that milk can be used for the cat, and you can also drink some milk. You can feed the cat too, and everything will be perfect. So then he is like, okay. And then these people, they bring a cow also. Everything is provided to him. So he was like, okay, now I can meditate in peace, right? Everything, all his problems are taken care of. He's taken shelter of all of these animals to solve his problems. And he's taken shelter of these people. So then after some time, the cow starts moving because the cow is also hungry and the cow needs grass. So where is he going to find grass from? Where is he going to find something to feed the cows? And so again, he goes to the village and he finally brings back a bundle of grass after begging all over, and the whole day was lost. So there was no time for meditation. Now, with this cow and cat and all the rat problem, this person was completely lost. Okay, he was completely, he had to take care of the cow now, because the cow goes all around and it lays cow dung everywhere, there is cow urine everywhere, and so he has to keep it clean. Now these people, the disciples, these prospective disciples, they don't come in the next few days. Only after another 8 days do they come back. And then they are like, oh, okay, everything is there for you. You should be pretty satisfied. But when they come, they say, how are you doing? And he is like, oh, I have no time to talk to you. I am very, very busy. And they were like, why? What happened? So see, you said that I just had one problem. I had a rat problem. And now it has become a cat situation where I have a cat to feed, and to feed the cat, now I have this cow, and this cow, it needs a lot of food, and I need to provide nice lush grass for this. So like this, I am spending my entire day. So then they were like, oh, don't worry, for this you need a wife. So when you have a wife, she is going to feed you, she's going to provide for you, and she is also going to manage your household. She's going to keep the area completely clean. So he goes and he brings back his wife, and now in the forest they all have to live, and he has to take care of these new liabilities, the cow, the cat, and everything. So what happens is, if our detachment to this world is not real, then definitely we will not be able to progress in our spiritual path. Mm. And here he's taken shelter of these false things, this material world. There is nothing that it can help us with. So that is the condition of us as individuals. Now, how about leadership? So nowadays, as we can see, most of the leaders are not Krishna conscious. There are many who are atheistic, they are miscreants, they are people who are never going to surrender to the Lord. And so what happens? Some of them even try to oppose those people who are trying to follow Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Namam dushkritino muda prapadyante naradama maya partha jnana asuram bhavam asrita. So he says that those who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among the mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature, they do not surrender unto me. So when these people, when they don't take Krishna's shelter and when they become leaders, the entire atmosphere becomes full of ignorance. And because of that, our enthusiasm to also become Krishna conscious is greatly reduced. So it is just like how a diseased person who has jaundice, they cannot relish the taste of sugar candy. So all the people also get into that ignorant stage where we cannot relish Krishna consciousness. So now this is the cause of our disease. Is there a cure to this disease? Of course there is a cure. Why would Rupa Goswami write something, right? Provide this instruction. The cure is the sweet sugar candy of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That is what we need to take shelter of. So just like how sugar candy is the medicine for jaundice, and initially, although it may taste bitter, you have to constantly keep on giving that sugar candy to the jaundice patient. And eventually, we can relish the taste, right? In the same way, Krishna's name is the only remedy to improve our spiritual situation, our spiritual health, to improve our condition. But because of our ignorance, the holy name is not immediately relishable. It is not palatable right away because of our various material engagements. So, but what do we do? By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra continuously with great care and attention in the association of devotees, then slowly we are freed from our false ego. And this false ego is born of ignorance. So once we are freed from this false ego, then we will be able to relish the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We will be able to relish Krishna's pastimes. So interestingly, right, we cannot see Krishna with our material eyes. We cannot hear about him with our material ears. We cannot even touch him with our material hands. But by engaging our tongue in his service, by avoiding all of the 10 basic offenses, then we will naturally revive our taste for Krishna Katha. We will slowly begin to unravel our spiritual identity also. So in this regard, we have from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, it says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakara Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikara. So Krishna is compared to, the translation is, Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion and the influence of external energy will immediately be vanished. That is what they're saying here. Of course, the chanting of Krishna's holy name is like the sun rising in our very darkened hearts, right? So just like how this entire universe is full of darkness, but Krishna has made an arrangement for us. He has provided us the sun and sunshine so that we can see light. So once the sun sets, what happens? The world is engrossed in darkness, right? In the same way, our heart is currently full of the darkness, full of this ignorance. It is full of the darkness of ignorance. But there is a light. And that light is Krishna consciousness. Now, because of many impious activities over many, many lifetimes, we are constantly in ignorance. But for one who constantly engages in the service of the Lord with love and attention, Krishna will obviously reveal himself in the heart. And that is Krishna's special mercy. Okay. So we all know about the most famous comparison is provided by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself in his Sri Shashtakam. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam anandambudivardhanam pratipatam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So that darkness can be completely removed by chanting the holy names of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So by chanting the holy names, of course, we cannot look at this entire verse. We will just look at the first line, Cheto Darpana Marjana. By chanting the names of Krishna, our heart, which is like a mirror, the mirror is full of dust. So that heart, which is like a mirror that's full of dust, can be cleansed by chanting the names of Krishna. And once we do that, the devotee, they lose interest in everything external. Everything in this material world seems completely irrelevant. And this material mind, our mind, it is like this mirror. And this mirror is covered by lot of dust. What is this dust actually? This dust is the many impressions over multiple lifetimes that are collected, right? And because of these impressions, we cannot recognize who we really are. We cannot recognize our eternal spiritual nature. We don't realize that we are the soul, we are an eternal servitor of the Lord. So that dust, that can be easily removed, right? It is not so hard to remove dust from a mirror, right? That dust can be removed. How? By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And this is just a very superficial covering. That's why we are able to remove it like that. Then the second part is about Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. So, of course, chanting the holy names of the Lord, it completely extinguishes all our sufferings, right? We are suffering from this blazing fire of material existence. And by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we are able to extinguish that fire. How do we receive this holy name? It has to be received from a spiritual master. So the most important instruction of our spiritual master is to chant our 16 rounds daily. So then where can we find this cure, right? This cure of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, can we do that on our own? Well, it is always much more better, and we can make tremendous progress when we are in an association. So that is where ISKCON comes in, and it creates an atmosphere, in which all the people, they can come together in sadhu sangha. We can all chant in the association of devotees. By becoming a member slowly, we can become a member. We can participate in Sankirtan all over the world. We can, when we are ripe, when we are ready, we can receive initiation from spiritual masters, and we can remain in devotional service by the help of this International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Our Bhakti Sangha also has a program starting from 4 a.m. every morning, right? Start with the entire chanting in the morning, followed by Bhagavatam. Then we have a mid-morning chanting, and then Chaitanya Bhagavat program. Then it doesn't end there, right? Throughout the day, even in the evenings, we have continuous programs for kids of all ages. And now here we are with Nectar of Instruction 2. So this is devotional service. And how how do we chant now? That is the next part. So ISKCON is definitely helping us progress in our spiritual life. So there are some things that we need to know about chanting. How do we chant the holy names of the Lord? Now, there are multiple stages. So there are 3 stages. First is Nama Parad, second stage is Nama Bhas, and the third is Shuddhana. So Nama Parad is the offensive stage where we are subject to committing. We are neophytes and commit the 10 basic offenses to the holy name. We will look at them, not all, but just in brief at least. The second stage is Nama Bhas. Now, this is the stage where we are between Nama Prad and Shuddhanam, and it is a stage where we are less offensive while we are chanting the holy names. And in the third stage, it is Shuddhanam, where we chant the pure holy names of the Lord. Comes when we are chanting the name of the Lord, we can feel Krishna dancing on our tongue. So that is the third stage. And that stage we are liberated. We can completely relish the taste of spiritual life. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that just by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all the reactions of sinful activities. He says that. So, and he says you can even complete all 9 processes of devotional service just by chanting the holy names. Now, is this an exaggeration? You just chant the name of the Lord one time. We have been chanting for so long, but do we feel like all of our sinful reactions are completely burnt off? This is not an exaggeration. It is just like saying, oh, you just need that one shot to win the Olympic gold, right? It's just one arrow that's going to take you to win the Olympic gold. So when we say that, what are we talking about? We are talking about, actually, that is true. But how does it happen? It doesn't happen overnight. We have to practice. So initially, when we are in the stage of Nama Parad, it is like shooting. When we have this, we have the target. We are shooting arrows, and in Nama Parad stage, the arrows fall all over the place, right? We are completely missing the target. We are not even aiming at the target. Actually, we don't realize, oh, okay, we are thinking about Krishna. We want to meditate on his name. We want to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. Oh, that is not even our goal, right? In the Nama Parad stage, we are all over the place. So then slowly, when we progress, when we are slowly getting rid of the 10 offenses, then we progress to the stage of Namabhas. Now, in the Namabhas stage, it is like, okay, I know this is my target, but still I have a long ways to go. I'm practicing, I'm trying hard, right? I'm trying to, be attentive, chant carefully, but still I have not reached the bullseye, right? We keep practicing, keep trying to shoot arrows at the target. And it is reaching all around, but not exactly in the middle. But eventually, by proper practice, by careful, attentive practice, we will be able to reach the stage of Shuddhana, where now we are ready to win the Olympic gold. We just shoot and it will hit the bullseye. And we are chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can actually experience our spiritual position. We can experience Krishna. So those are the 3 different stages. And now we will look at each one of them in a little bit. So Nama Parad, we have the 10 offenses to the holy name. I am not going to read all of them. We will just look at 3 of them. Okay, so we have the 10 offenses, and the 11th offense is to be inattentive while chanting. Okay, so we look at the first offense. This first offense is to blaspheme the devotee who has dedicated their life to propagating the holy name of the Lord. So, when we are doing uh, Vaishnava aparad, like what Mataji had mentioned last class, right? This is definitely the mad elephant offense, right? Because we are we are offending someone. We are we are committing offenses at the lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava. That is just like a mad elephant offense. It can completely uproot our entire Krishna consciousness. So this is just like how, why is it called the mad elephant offense? When you leave, when a mad elephant goes into a garden or any area, it will just completely trample over the entire space, right? And it does not leave anything as is. So we have the small seed of bhakti that is sown in our heart, right? So we need to try and nurture it, make sure that it is growing well. When we start committing offenses to other Vaishnavas, to other great devotees of the Lord, then this particular seed of bhakti is completely trampled upon by the mad elephant. Then seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Oh, of course, in the scriptures, it is said that, okay, we can get liberated from all our sinful reactions by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, because we know this now, if we start taking advantage of this transcendental sound vibration, and we start committing offenses, we start chanting, thinking that, oh, okay, all my sinful reactions is going to be taken care of, and we go ahead and we start causing more, creating more, doing more sins, then committing more sins, then what happens? Then we are going to we are committing a very, very great offense. Okay, this is one of the greatest offense at the lotus feet of the holy name. Why? Because, see, um, you may be sinful before you're chanting the holy names of the Lord, and but after you take shelter of the holy names, right, then we need to make sure that we don't commit any further sins. At least knowingly we shouldn't commit sins, right? We should refrain ourselves from committing any further sins, because that is the only way in which the holy name will give us any progress, for any, and it will help us in our spiritual life, right? So definitely we should not commit any offenses um, um, on the strength. We should not commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. The 11th offense is that of inattentive chanting. So it's so the 11th offense. So this was included by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and he says that all the other offenses are born from this one offense. And what is that? That is inattentive chanting. So being negligent or being inattentive while we are chanting, that will sow the seed of anarthas. So many anarthas will start forming if we are not paying attention to our chanting. Now, of course, this is one very, very big offense that even I have to get rid of, try to overcome. So, what is it? It is that we get very distracted while we are chanting. So distraction in our chanting, it produces a kind of illusion. It What happens is this, it causes this illusion, because of course when we are chanting the holy names, nothing goes in vain, right? It is the holy name of the Lord. So it will lead to just material benefits. We are not going to get any spiritual benefits out of chanting this way. What does it do? It creates an illusion, and this illusion, it intensifies our desire for material things in life. Okay, so we start craving for wealth, we start craving for position, we want to be more successful, right? It completely starts attracting and it starts attracting all the material bad things, and it once again that ignorance is starting to build up, and it is going to cover the heart. So by doing that, ultimately, eventually, we tend to lose interest in chanting the holy names of the Lord. So when as a neophyte, we take to chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we start committing many offenses. So these 10 basic offenses, if we can avoid, then slowly we can get a glimpse of what the next stage is like, right? So this is a condition. Oh, okay, when I'm chanting, I have so many things that come in my mind, oh, okay, this has to be done, okay, that needs to be done, so many things come in, and then again we try to, so inattentive chanting also, we can try to pull back our attention to the holy names, right? And we try to take shelter of the holy names when we are chanting in that way. We're like, oh, please, Krishna, you know, Harinam, you know that I cannot control my mind on my own. I definitely need your help. So only by doing that can we progress on to the next stage, which is Namabhas. So this is a stage when we are, okay, yeah, when we have kind of reached the stage where all our offenses have almost stopped, and we are not exactly at the stage of pure chanting, but we are getting there. Yeah, it's a progression, right? So, and we look at this progression in a little more detail. So in the beginning, we cannot chant the pure names of the Lord because we are so conditioned, right? But over time, by chanting continuously, then it slowly becomes namabhas. Abhas means it is just like what happens at dawn, right? Before the sun rises, all the darkness goes away, but the sunlight is not fully there, right? So you can see everything very distinctly, but that sun is yet to rise. So that is the stage of namabhas. So in this stage, Srila Haridas Thakur, he says, even in this stage, one can get liberated. And for this, Haridas Thakur uses two examples. He quotes two examples, right? He talks about a Jamil, and the other is he talks about a Mlecha. So we shall look at that. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6. Sanketyam parihasyam va stobhyam helanameva va vaikunta nama grahana asheshagham haram vidum. So very important. It's explaining what namabhas will be like, right? So one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reaction of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to something else, to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of scriptures. So we see how when one chants indirectly. So we see the story of Ajamil from the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. And he is a great sinner. He has committed so many offenses throughout his life. But at the time of death, he wants to call out for his youngest son. And youngest son, fortunately, he named him Narayana. So he calls out to Narayana. But instead of the sun coming, who comes? The Vishnu Duta comes. Vishnu Dutas come and they relieve him. They relieve him from all the bonds, from the Yama Pasha, because Yamaraj's attendants also come there, right? Because they are ready to take a Jamil back to Yamalok because he's committed so many offenses. But just because he chants the name Narayana, the Vishnu Dutas come and they stopped the Yamadutas from taking him away. So Haridas Thakur, he will say that why are you thinking about just a Jamal chanting the name Narayana, even if someone, right, okay, neglectfully. So there is a pastime, there is a story, this is from the Narsimha Purana, where a meat eater, he is a mlecha, he was being attacked by a boar, and so in his distress, when he is being killed by a boar, over and over again he keeps saying ha Rama, but just because he said Rama, he attained liberation, right? So even someone who has chanted completely neglectfully, because he's saying something abominable, okay, oh, this boar is abominable for them, so he's completely condemning it, but still because he uttered the holy name of the Lord, he got the benefit of chanting the holy name. He was able to get liberated. So we know about how fire, right, whether fire will act, whether it is an innocent child who is touching the fire, or someone who is aware that this is fire and it is going to burn me, right? So just like that, the one may know, you may or may not know what the power of chanting the holy name is. You may or may not even realize that you're chanting the holy name. But if you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or you chant the holy name of the Lord, then you become free of all your sinful reactions. So that is the stage of Namabhas. So what this means is that by either knowing, like when we go to the doctor gives us a medicine. We don't need to know how this medicine is going to help or what are the ingredients in it. We don't need to know all of the details of that medicine. But if we take it, right, regularly, then it will definitely act. Because that is the medicine, that is the nature of the medicine. In the same way, the nature of the holy names of the Lord is such that whether we know what the value of chanting is or we don't know the value of chanting, it will be effective. So the third stage of chanting is Shuddhanam. So in the Shuddhanam stage, this is the pure stage. So one is actually liberated in the stage. We can relish the taste of spiritual life. And by this chanting, by chanting Shuddhanam, we are given pure love of Godhead, right? So this is the Bhava Mahadavagni stage. We are liberated from that blazing fire of material existence. So what is pure devotional service is given by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Nectar of Devotion. He says in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti ruttama. So when we perform first class devotional service, we have no interest in anything material, no material desires, right? We have it is free from jnana karma dhanavritam. It is free from the knowledge and fruitive actions. Then very favorably, when we are taking to the names of the Lord, when we are taking to Krishna's name, then we are following pure devotional service. So then it's like, oh, okay, this is a very, very difficult stage, right? We should be free from all material desires. We should not be looking for any knowledge or any fruitive actions, nothing, right? And we should completely be dedicated to just serving the Lord. This is a very difficult stage to attain. So then we would be disheartened. How can we reach that Shuddhanam stage, right? How can we get bhakti? Actually, bhakti is a process. There are 9 stages to bhakti. And that is what we are going to see here very briefly. Okay, we talk about first starting with Shraddha. Always bhakti has to start with a little faith. a little faith in Lord Krishna, a little faith in chanting. And then when we keep on when that chanting continues, and the chanting continues, slowly we will get association of devotees, that is sadhu sangha. So ISKCON definitely provides us with that facility. So there are so many Sankirtan parties that are going around the world, and sometimes in Sankirtan, excuse me there, yeah. Okay, so when so many people, like thousands of people, come to a Sankirtan party, and some of them, they are so attracted to these devotees that they start imitating what they're doing. Okay, they start chanting, they try to imitate them, because it's very, very hard to directly become one and have that full, complete faith, and just dive deep into it. But so just because they are trying to imitate something that is very good, that is also very desirable. Slowly they can reach the stage where they can be ready to be initiated by a guru. And this is the stage where bhajana kriya comes in. So once we are initiated, we serve the Lord by daily chanting our Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We have to chant 16 rounds as given by our, instructed by our spiritual master. And we have to also refrain from we have to follow the 4 regulative principles. We have to refrain from illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling. Okay, so these are the basic principles we have to follow during bhajana kriya. By this process of bhajana kriya, slowly we can be freed from our material contaminations, and this leads to the stage of anartha nivritti. Now in anartha nivritti, we attain freedom from this contaminated life, right? Material life. And in anartha nivritti, this is the cleansing stage where all the unwanted things, all the anarthas are vanquished, right? And then we slowly start becoming attached to the Krishna consciousness, becoming attached to Krishna consciousness. After anartha nivritti, the next stage is nishta. So in the stage of nishta, directly in the stage of nishta itself, one can get into Shuddhanam. So there we become very fixed in our activities, in all our spiritual activities. And slowly, by this being so fixed, we develop ruchi, we develop taste for Krishna conscious activities. And once we develop taste for Krishna conscious activities, it slowly progresses to asakti, where we are completely attached to bhakti. And beyond asakti is the stage of bhava. In the stage of bhava, one can experience ecstasy. So this is the initial awakening or preliminary awakening of love for Krishna. Okay, so in the stage of bhava, what happens to the devotee? So at that stage, the conditioned soul, they become free from all their material existence. They completely lose interest in the bodily concept of life. We lose interest in all that is materially opulent, in knowledge, in everything. That is, like we talked about, anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhanavritam. That is the stage where in bhava we can attain that stage of pure devotion. And one very important thing is, in the stage of bhava, one can understand who the Supreme Lord is, and we can understand what Maya is. So we are not going to be disturbed by Maya in this stage, right? So in this stage, one can be liberated. So Maya actually means forgetfulness of Krishna. And you cannot be forgetful of Krishna and be Krishna consciousness at the same time. It won't stand together. It is like Krishna consciousness is the light and Maya is the shadow, right? Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andhakara. So wherever there is the light of Krishna consciousness, Maya cannot stay. And from the stage of bhava, one finally reaches the stage of prema, where one is in pure love of Krishna. So this is the process, and these are the stages of bhakti. And from here, we will stop and we will look at just what we talked about today. So in summary, we talked about how we are in this stage of, we are afflicted by this disease, right? And that is this jaundice of ignorance. And in order to be free from that, we have to take to the sugar candy. What is the sugar candy for us? That is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, chanting the holy names of the Lord, hearing the pastimes of the Lord attentively. So this Krishna consciousness movement, it is helping us to create this atmosphere, so where everyone can take to this process of chanting. And we talked about the 3 different stages of chanting and how we can progress through those 3 stages and through the and different stages of bhakti, and finally awaken our love for Krishna. So we'll just look at this flow chart so that we can summarize everything properly. So we call this verse Name Ruchi, and it talks about first the symptom of the disease. What is the symptom? Is that we have no taste for chanting, right? We have no taste for the name, form, Krishna's pastimes, nothing. And this is just like the bitter taste of sugar candy. Because of the jaundice, it affects our tongue, and we cannot taste the relish the taste of sweet or sugar. So this is the symptom. What is the cause of the disease? We talked about ignorance being the major cause. Avidya is the major cause. There are also collective causes or things caused by leadership, right? So individual cause is ignorance, and this ignorance leads to forgetfulness of Krishna. We take shelter in this material world, which is Durashraya, and we are completely attracted to the external energy of the Lord, which is Maya. And the collective cause of our disease is that we have blind atheistic miscreants who are leaders, and because they are leaders, they take us through the path of darkness. The cure for this is obviously, what is it? Chanting the holy names of the Lord with care and attention by avoiding the 10 offenses, and we can be free from the blazing fire of material existence. Where are we going to get this? ISKCON helps us in providing an environment for it. And what does it help with? It helps with developing a little faith, Shraddha. It gives us that association of devotees, sadhu sangha. It helps us, like after we are initiated, then we have to start chanting our 16 rounds. Of course, even before initiation, we have to chant 16 rounds of japa and follow the 4 regulative principles. And the next thing that it helps us do is it helps us be freed from all the contaminations, all the anarthas that are within us. And so beyond that, what happens? Beyond that, we slowly enter into the stage of bhava through nishta, ruchi, asakti, and then bhava. And bhava is the preliminary awakening of love of Godhead. So there are 3 symptoms in the stage of bhava, is that we have no bodily concept, we understand the difference between Krishna and Maya, and we are not disturbed by Maya at all in that stage. And what is the ultimate healthy stage is where we are pure with no contaminations as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Please share any realizations or reflections. Definitely, this is for my own purification, for me to learn how to chant more attentively. This session has helped me greatly. I mean, all the preparation for it has helped me greatly in this. And I pray that you all may also be benefited by it in some way. We can end here.
Thank you so much, Indulekha Karuna Mataji. That was a very beautiful class. Thank you so much. I really like the shooting analogy. I think that was really nice. It was very easy to understand. I mean, basically to relate to the 3 different stages of chanting. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for your entire presentation. Very, very relevant and useful. Thank you, Mataji. If anyone has any questions, comments, or realizations, please don't hesitate. You can go ahead. Nitya Narsimha Prabhu, did you raise your hand?
No, Mataji, just no questions, but it was an amazing session. I was just go on hearing. It was an excellent class by Mataji. But that I liked that slide, which stages of bhakti. But that PPT in the right side, which was showing the tree Kalpataru, that visibility was not clear. Maybe we can put it in a separate slide so that anyway you will be sharing that these slides now, Mataji. But that was very, very nice, and overall it was amazing session, Mataji. I really enjoyed it. I don't have any questions. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, stages of devotion, I think, Mataji. So that entire tree, if you can,
yeah, we can
probably send it in the WhatsApp chat, that will be helpful.
We'll send it separately. Yeah, I mean, definitely it's there in the slides, but maybe not so clear. We can send the stages of devotion separately. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and yeah, any other questions? Yeah, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, question?
No, Mataji, I want to share realization, but after all the Vaishnava.
I think we can go ahead with Mataji's realization.
Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to your sincere seva beta. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shashi Radha Gopinath ki jai. So sincerely you explain about that sugar candy, that disease, jo that time it's called in Hindi kamra. That time the sugar candy also tastes like a bitter taste. So our conscious is like that. And you explain about the basic offenses of Maya, compare directions of illusion. Then Krishna provide unset world. There is the light. A light is the Krishna conscious with love and affection. That is the Krishna. Krishna's special mercy. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji Sishtastakam, you sing so nicely. Cheto Darpan Marjanam, Nava Mahagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Hakerava Chandrika, Vijanam Vidyavadu Jivanam. जन्म जन्म की धूल जो लगी है वो एक ही दिन में नहीं जाएगी. जब रूम पूरा डस्ट से भरा होता है, HG Radha Gopinath Prabhuji and Gopinath said that it's take 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 1 month to complete to remove all the dust. Like that we are chanting from long time, but if sincerity is not there, you explain about the nama aprad, the nama bhasa, suddha nam. So for nama aprad you explain 10 basic offenses. Nama bhasa, shuddha nam, pure holy name. We cannot feel Krishna in our tongue. पर जो एक बार भी भगवान का नाम लेता है वो रस से लेता है कि नहीं लेता है, पर दिल से लेते हैं कि नहीं लेते हैं, पर उनको कृष्णा की मर्जी मिल जाती है. एंड हाउ वी गेट द रस फ्रॉम Krishna conscious by hearing continuously Krishna Katha, and you explain about that Win Olympic. वो 2 minute की या 5 minute की रेस होती है, but for that whole year or maybe from long year they are practicing. So we have to chant attentively our japa and you explain about the Nam Aprad, 10 offenses. In that offenses, we are committing offenses mad elephants, and you compare with the mad elephants. Krishna conscious Bhakti Lata बीज तो सीड्स तो इंडिया में तो पेरेंट्स ने बोए होते हैं, पर वो कब फ्लावर और फ्रूट्स होता है, जब वी गेट द एसोसिएशन ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग वैष्णवा from morning Bhakti Sangha 4:30 start japa by HG Shyama Gori, HG Radha Radhika Mataji, HG Stephanie Mataji, HG Kaumudiki Mataji, all पॉजिटिव वाइब्रेशन वी गेट। और जब हम जपा ग्रुप में करते हैं तो वो क्वालिटी अलग होती है, और अकेले करते हैं तो सो वी हैव टू डू जपा attentively, then Shishi Bhagavad Gita class, then Shishi again japa, then again Shishi Chaitanya Charamrut class, Shishi Bhagavad class, Srila Prabhupada Amruta। शाम को भी ये जो छोटे छोटे हमारे बच्चे हैं वो आराम से नहीं बैठते, ये हमारी गोपी है, वो शाम को किड्स क्लास लेते हैं। then you explain about the, I take only 1 minute, Vaishnava, then you explain about the Srila Haridas Thakur story and Ajamil story. You are given Ajamil story from Shishi Bhagavatam 10th canto, canto 6, please forgive me, and what is the Namabhas you explain, and it's going on, Mataji. I will share only point. Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti and Bhav. Given an example of jaundice, ignorance of sugar candy, taste नहीं आता है sugar candy का jaundice में. Hearing pastime of Lord Krishna and Srimati Shishi Radharani, Shishi Bhagavatam, Shishi Chaitanya Charanamrita, Shishi Bhagavad Gita. Then you explain about the 3 stages of chanting. Love of Krishna, not to disturb by Maya. Maya is always ready to attack with us, but when we staying with the association of devotee, Maya is not going to attack. Then you explain about the Shuddhanam stage, then Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and Anartha Nivruti, and Shraddha, you explain the little faith in Lord Krishna. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, we have to stay with devotee. Bhajana Kriya, after Bhajana Kriya, so to serve Lord Krishna, daily chanting attentively with all Vaishnava, and following 4 regulative principle, Anartha Nivruti, when attentively freedom from the all the when we chant our japa attentively, all the anartha, especially when I die, then only bhakti will start. That I die is our ego. When our ego die, then only we can progress in a bhakti. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. So nicely explained point by point, and that chart, Mataji. Ananta Koti Dandvat Pranam to your sincere seva. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Radha Gopinath ki jai. Thank you, beta. Thank you. Hari Hari Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, it's very nice to hear from you. You have so many realizations of your own. Please bless Mataji. We see how you sincerely you chant every morning. So please bless Mataji that we can also chant the same way, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Oh, beta, not my realization. I explain as it is whatever I learned from senior brahmachari. So credit goes to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, our Guru Karan and Acharya.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, dear devotees, for your time. And we can end the call here if there are no realizations, no questions. We'll see you tomorrow. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai.
HG Indulekha Karuna Gopi ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, beta.
Jai.
Thank you, beta.
Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
much.
Thank
Hare
you, Mataji.
Krishna.
Yeah.